Greetings everyone, this is Strike 95 here, and today we are on episode 7 of our series. Last week we actually went through from Philadelphia to New York City to go check out the Yankees and the Mets, and to more explore the vast history of baseball in the city of the Big Apple. However, I do like to tell you that I'm really sorry for what happened at the end of last week's episode. Apparently, because we went to New York and the East USA server, we had really bad frames, and there was a lot of issues with that. So I'm hoping that this next stream will go a lot better this time. So if you wonder where we're going to be going this week, well, we're actually heading to Boston, Massachusetts, the home of the Boston Red Sox, one of the most well-known teams in baseball. So, for our bit of a route, we will be taking a very different route here today. So, our legs will split up to this. First leg, we will travel here from Westchester County to Hartford. And then we will travel from there to Providence, Rhode Island. And then once we get to Providence, Rhode Island, we then travel through Pawtucket, then Worcester, and then we'll make our third stop at Lawrence G. Hanscom Field, right outside of Concord, Massachusetts. And our final link we'll be heading through the city of Boston, through many of the iconic landmarks in the city, from Harvard all the way to Bunker Hill and the Paul Revere House. These are all iconic landmarks, and Boston has been one of the most historic cities in the country. So I think it'd be a really good thing to do here for the stream. And I see that there's Kozaki Flyer with us. Good to see you, man. I really appreciate you being here. So if you're wondering the plane I'm going to take, well, this is a generation plane that actually does not need much of an introduction. And I'm talking about the Cessna 172. This plane does not need any introductions when it comes to general aviation. Over 40,000 of these things were built, making it the most mass-produced aircraft of all time. And mind you, this is impressive considering the plane first flew in the late 40s, which is extremely impressive considering this plane has stood the test of time as such a great plane. And there's a lot of things to like about it. It's easy to fly, easy to operate, it's forgiving, and if you have good maintenance, they can fly for an extremely long time. Now, in Microsoft Flight Simulator, there actually are two versions you can get. If you have the basic edition, you get the G1000 edition. However, if you ended up getting the Premium Deluxe edition, you get actually the one with Steam Gauge. And then on July 27th, when the Xbox release comes around, there's going to be a third version of the Cessna 172, the one with floats, and that's the one I want to use at some point. And Kozaki Flyers in the chat. It's good to see you, man. I'm doing very well. I'm getting ready for the stream, and I'm hoping that my Twitch isn't going to have the issues that a few other people were having, like Fabio and Allison's stream. I'm just hoping things actually go well today. Well, the version of the Cessna 1000 I'm using today is this. That's right, the Premium Deluxe Steam Gauges 172. This is the one Colonel Forth likes to fly a lot, and I could definitely see why. You may think with all these Steam Gauges, it's kind of difficult to read at first, but once you get more and more time used to it, it's actually a pretty simple plane. So we're going to get the checklist started. So basically, the reason that I like this plane a lot too is because you have all these awesome Steam Gauges to look at. Like your fuel, your oil temperature, your pressure, your vertical speed. It's got your old VOR stuff. I haven't done any VOR stuff. I may want to work on that at some point. But it is just really cool. The GPS is kind of nice as well. I still need to fiddle around with more of the systems myself. But I know how to get this thing flying and get this thing going. So, to turn on this plane, let's just say the pre-check inspection is already done. It already looks like that to begin with. Now we need to, before we start the engine, after it's completed, we now need to, that's off. Both of the equipments are both, and we're going to be using that for most of the flight. You can use the left or right for takeoffs. They said you can't do that, so we open the fuel shut-off valve, which is right here, like that. And then we gotta start the engine. First, we gotta adjust our throttle right here. That works. We're gonna cut off the mixture. Plain and simple. It's clear of all the obstacles. The people are far enough away, we don't have to hurt them. Turn on the battery switch. On. Then we look at the beacon. Let's turn this beacon on. Plain and simple. Then we pull the mixture. Then there's the auxiliary fuel pump right here. Now we have to turn this on temporarily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off. Then lean the mixture. We're gonna be ready to brake in case anything happens. Then we turn the ignition, so we turn the magnetos to start. And let's see if that works. It's on, actually. Okay, I think that's on. We gotta adjust to get it around 1,000 RPM. Okay, that's perfect. That's around 1,000. Oil pressure. The oil pressure is check that the oil pressure is in the green. It's in the green sector. The alternator, we're going to turn it on. Boom. The indicator, there should be no warning. I don't see any warnings with it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. Did I turn off the parking brake? I did. God darn it. Sorry about that. The parking brake. The animator, it's correct. Then we got to turn on the 2 avionics. That's on. The radios are switched on. Transponder is on. There it is on standby. We keep the flaps up. The head indicator is, we gotta align the head, but it's aligned. The altimeter is set. There. The attitude indicator is, we're gonna reset it's already set. That's good. And then we'll get this thing taxi. We're gonna turn on the taxi lights. So taxis turn on, landing lights turn on, strobe and navigation lights are all turned on. We're going to also turn on the pilot heat as well, just in case. And then we release the test all the rudders. The turn in the compass should all be working. So let's get this moving. So we're going to head to runway 16 for the flight. Have you tried the Shift Z mod yet? I have not tried that yet, actually. But I may want to try it at some point after the stream. I got this whole stream to do. But I heard that Goblin Zeus uses it a lot. So I may have to try and wait and see. I may have to download from Flight Sim TO. I've heard today that Pilot Peely's doing his first live stream, and I actually checked by. I think he's doing quite well for himself. And I'm happy he's finally get the chance to start streaming. Like, I still remember my first stream back, all the way back in May. Still hard to believe I'm already in episode 7 right now. So I'm very happy and excited for it. Okay. We're clear from the runway. Now, on my nav map, it says for the safe altitude, we need to be around 2,000 feet. So 2,500 feet should give us more than enough. This is our safe altitude. Let's go 2,500 feet. Now, the thing about this autopilot, though, is it's not like the autopilot in the G1000. In order to set the autopilot, the altitude, you need to actually set this right here. Ah, good. Okay, I may want to try that at some point. 2,500. Now, when you take off, you need to actually, it's the reference. So we're going to go ahead and take off here. But before that, we see bottoms here in Kozaki Flyer. We're going to wait till you guys get in the runway. Here. Yeah, I really like this Kenmore livery scheme on it. It looks really nice with the golden brown. Though, that might be better when we go to San Diego. It will fit a lot more. But I think it's a flashy color scheme, and I think it works really well on a plane. So there's Bottom in the 172. There's Druid Zeus, and there's also Kozaki. Good to see you guys here. So I'm gonna, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna be ready to take off right away. Set to 70. Gotta take this off carefully. And we're off. Gotta keep a decent altitude to start off. And I did this without even needing any flaps to get off the ground, which is pretty cool. Justin, good to see you there, Goblin. Yeah, the Cessna is a really lovely plane, and I would definitely love to own one in real life. This would be the kind of plane I want to own in real life. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Cessna 172. So okay, we have our altitude set. We're gonna go turn on the autopilot. Now, once we have the autopilot, we can adjust the vertical speed we take off. So let's get to 500 feet, because this isn't like a G1000, which has the automatic flight level thing. You're gonna have to set how much vertical speeds per second you need to raise and go high from. So that's one thing that really sets this Cessna apart from the normal 172 that you get from base. And we're also going to have to turn on the nav mode. I forgot to turn on nav. The navigation system is now armed. Let's turn to 800 feet per second. We're going to pull to full power. We should get there really fast. The good thing is now we're far enough away from New York City. So at least the good news is that, from what I know, Boston is not nearly as busy as New York. So it would definitely be a very interesting flight to take as well. 2,500 feet. There's quite a bit of wind here today using live weather. We should be getting around 1,500 feet, 2,500 feet, so we can definitely see a few areas as well. I also know that CDL's on stream. He's doing his What the Flock again. So he's also got that. 757 Spies on stream as well. So there's quite a few major flight sim YouTubers on today. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see as well. But the scenery is really nice. You got a lot of great elements with the trees. You definitely see a lot of elements. And I think we're now at 2,500 feet. I'm going to press it right here. Going to adjust the throttle right there. To be 86% throttle. This way it's a power enough throttle. I can keep it at a good speed. To our right, this is the Long Island Sound. That is separates between the mainland and the island of Long Island. As well. But I mean, this is a good day to fly. That's for sure. Very nice for sure. See if you want to get onto the route. Well, we'll be heading to Hartford first. So basically, we're going to get the slideshow started. We're going to go visit the first city in the slideshow. We're going to be visiting Hartford, Connecticut. Now, Hartford, for what we know, is the capital city of Connecticut and is the fourth largest city. And it's the fourth largest city in the state. It was founded in 1635 and is among the oldest cities in the entire country. So, some of the unique landmarks in this place, you can find the Mark Twain House there, and this is where Mark Twain actually wrote many of his most iconic books, including his famous Tales of Huckleberry Finn were written here. Bushnell Park, which is a very well-known city park in the state, and Armseer. Armseer is actually the estate of a certain firearms inventor named Samuel Colt. Also, in addition, the city of Hartford has its own minor league baseball team, the Hartford Yard Goats, which are the AA affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. And finally, it is also home to Pratt & Whitney. Pratt & Whitney, for all we know, makes a lot of different kinds of aircraft engines, from propeller-based engines to turboprop, and especially the jet engines as well, which I think is really cool. Now, if you want to ask, what are some well-known people from the city, you may ask. Well, Hartford has quite a few, but they also include Samuel Colt, who became the successful inventor of the modern revolver handguns. So if you ever see a lot of the Wild West shootouts on the Wild West films, the guns that they use in the films, there's a good chance they were invented by Samuel Colt. J.P. Morgan, who we know is one of the most powerful businessmen during the entire Gilded Age, and his firm eventually is still here today as J.P. Morgan, and that's where they got the name from, his own firm. And then Dwayne Freeney, All-Pro and future Hall of Famer defensive end for the Indianapolis Colts. So that brings us about Hartford. Now, unfortunately, Hartford is not photogrammetry in the sim, but you can get a scenery pack for it from Flight Sim TO. And if you get that, you get the whole scenery package, which is really nice. It is a bit windy today. I can definitely tell from the plane moving up and down. It's kind of windy. Now, on my Discord, I did make a couple changes. I added an AV bot, and it'll tell us the weather conditions for it from where I took off the airport. I have my own bot on the Discord. So it's going to be quite windy at like around 9 knots. So it's going to be quite the windy day. And there's also pretty nice cloud formations. Like I said, live weather looks really nice today. It's a good day to do some VFR flying. There's bot up right there, and I think your feet are hanging out. That is not very safety practical. Safety is definitely, there's no safety in there as your feet are sticking out. Definitely seen some nice scenery around here. I have to Flintstone it during Taxi. Yeah, the Flintstones. The classic cartoon like the 50s and 60s. Yeah, the Flintstones. Back when Hanna-Barbera was doing real cartoons. Oh, Papa Joe B. Thank you for the follow, man. It's good to see you. I've been knowing that you've been doing great work with the Thunderflies and all that, Papa Joe. So it's great to have you here. Thank you so much. You picked the Turbo Arrow 4. No, the Turbo Arrow 4 is a good choice, but it might be a little too fast. But hey, I've heard nothing but good things about the Arrow and Turbo Arrow. I'm hoping to get it at some point whenever it comes to the Microsoft official marketplace. Hey, Splasher6, good to see you, man. It's always been a blast to hang out with you, man. So how's your Facebook stream going? It says you're to tag along for support. You're more than welcome to join me at any point there, Papa Joe. You're more than welcome anytime. I'm on the East USA server. And if you want to actually join, the closest airport I would recommend going is to Waterbury, Oxford, which is Kilo Oscar X Charlie. This is the closest ICAO code. You're booting up now? Great, about 1 hour to go. Wonderful, Splasher6. So actually, about Splasher6, if you guys haven't checked him out, Splasher6 makes some really good content. He's been recently doing his Crude Flight series every Friday, and every single Tuesday, he's been doing his Pan American Highway series. And here's Splasher6's link. I'm going to give him a nice shout out. He's been a really big help for me to get into streaming, and he's such a good guy to be around. Nice and chill. So why don't you give him a bit of a follow? I think he would really like to have that. YT Baller 08 with the follow. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. So we're doing right now, we're actually flying to Boston, Massachusetts. This is on leg 1 of the trip to Hartford, Connecticut, and we're doing this series called Play Ball, and we're traveling through the world of baseball. So we're going to be doing that. How do you go online? Well, I'll be more than happy to help you out. We're on the East USA server, and currently the closest airport if you want to join in is Kilo Oscar X Charlie. Just pick any plane. Just don't go for the airliners, please. That would kill my frames. That's the last thing I would need is any more frames issues. What about your F-18? I would probably pick something more general aviation. I would recommend taking the Diamond DA 40 would be a better choice. I think that would be a better choice. Just something that would keep up my Cessna, but I don't want to take any chances because I don't know what is my generic model going to be. But I appreciate you asking, though, YT Baller. It's good to be there. But I guess if you want to use it, that's fine. Just as long as it's not an airliner, just GA, General Aviation. You have your okay. So here's I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video for a second. So how do you go online? Well, in order to go online, you need to go to your general options and select data, and it will give you to multiplayer. You want to turn that on. How you spawn? You go into your search bar and then you type in the ICAO code. For example, let me show that to you. This is the one I'm talking about. Kilo. It's this airport right here. Kilo Oscar X-Ray Charlie. Once you do that, you can join it online from there. And I'm on the East USA server, which is up there. So, does that make sense? I don't know how to search it. You search when you start the flight in the. No, you're fine, YT Baller. That's fine. That you're new. In fact, that's the point of being here in the community. We'll be more than happy to help you out. So whenever you do your flights, on the top part of your screen, there's this bar saying your departure airport. Then you want to type in the code KOXC. Type it up there, and it will give you the airport. And once you do that, then you can just pick your plane you want, and then start your flight. It's actually pretty simple. It may seem tough, but it's not actually that difficult when you do it in practice. Okay, that's good. Let me see if you're at the airport. Oh, you're loading, okay. But I'm still going to keep my camera right at the airport to make sure that you're in. BO2 Gamer, I think that's you, I believe. I think that's you down there, isn't it? YT Baller, I think that's you. Sorry. Yep, that's you. Okay, you're in. Good. You're in. That's wonderful. Make sure you take off. Perfect. I don't see your nameplates. Okay, if you want to turn on your nameplates, go to the general options in the pause menu. Once you go to general, you want to pick traffic and go to aviation traffic, and in there you see traffic nameplates. Once you see that, turn that to on. If you turn that on, you could see everyone's nameplates, and you'll be able to see mine too. What's your name on here? There's my gamer tag. I put it on there as a command. My tag is ViberStrike9510. That's my tag. So you see that up there? That is me. Hello, Arctic Turn. Welcome to the chat, man. How you been doing? So how's been the charity stuff going on? I know you've been doing a lot of that lately. Oh, wonderful. So, if you don't know where we're doing Arctic Turn, we'll be flying to Boston. I only see SH Traz. Oh, you are you seeing as Bonanzas? Aren't yeah. If you're only seeing as that, go to the general menu there, YT Baller, and go all the way back to traffic. If you go all the way down to the final part, you see generic plane models multiplayer. You want to turn that off, because if you do that, you should see more different unique plane models. That's what I usually do, so I can see different planes. If you did that, I think that would be pretty much certain. You're more than welcome, man. Like I said, I'm more than happy to help a new player out. In fact, I like helping new players out because I think I want to help them enjoy their experience a lot more. And fostering good communities is very important, especially in flight sim. So right ahead is we're going to be flying towards New Britain. Now, New Britain used to have its own minor league team back in the day. It was called the. If you only see 2 people for some reason, you might have to reset your server YT bar and reset it back. And if you do that, that might be able to fix your name problem. And that's usually on the top right corner of your in the main menu in your pause menu. You can do that to change your servers. Like rejoin? No. What I mean is this. On your name tag, see the server? You could do West USA, then flip it back to East USA, and the names will be able to reload. It'd be like rejoin, but you switch servers temporarily, and then you can switch from one server to another and switch it back. And it might help you with your nameplate problem. Yep. Just a simple change of server and then change it back will fix that nameplate problem. But definitely some really nice environment here today. It's very lovely here, traveling through the New England area. Absolutely very nice to travel. Do you see me? I do see you. You have to rejoin for some reason. There is only one other thing potentially. Papa Joe B, you bailed for today. That's fine. I really appreciate the follow, man. You're more than welcome to comment any points. You're more than welcome to join for the next one. You're more than welcome. Yes, nice country here. Yep, this is the New England region, which contains the states of Massachusetts, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. So this is New England for you. Okay, you're rejoining. Let's hope you see more nameplates. I think that would be really good. Hmm. Here. Now, in terms of runway, according to here, we should be able to run. As well, we should be able to run on runway 02. We should definitely do that here according to my nav map. We should land on runway 02, which is right here. Oh, you still only see the bonanzas. Oh no. Oh dear. The only other problem I think is your traffic variety may be a bit lower. Maybe that's probably what it is. But you can see me. That's weird. Yeah, I can see you. That's a bit weird. I don't know what you mean traffic. Go back to general. It's in your traffic options. Right here. No. Now, it may be traffic variety. That could be a thing. It's in your generic plane models, which is right here. You turn that off, and you should probably see more different liveries. The only other explanation is that you might only have the basic edition, and they come out as bonanzas. And since I'm using I think I have said high. Okay, that's not the thing. It is okay. It's probably because you don't have the premium deluxe editions. So as a result, I bet that's why you're only seeing people with bonanzas, because you don't have those planes. I bet that's the most likely cause and culprit that I can think of. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the autopilot. Boom, autopilot off. And I'll try to navigate this rest of it myself. There, I think I see the runway in sight. No, I don't, sadly. It's okay. Like, I've seen people have third-party planes a lot. They're YT baller, and I can't really see them. But I know it's sad not to see them. I hope one day there may be an add-on that can let us see third-party planes without having to buy them. But I mean, we'll just have to wait to the point. But I hope I helped you out as much as I could. I don't know where the airport is. That you're at. The airport I'm at is in Hartford. I need to land first. I apologize where I'm landing. I need to land first. This is runway 02. Got it. Got it, I'm down. Okay, the airport I'm at is on my little nav map. Now I have this. I believe you're a bit further ahead than I am. I bet I'm further ahead. So if this is water blue, you go to 64 degrees, and that should get you there. Okay, how I answer the traffic tower? Well, in order to answer, there is this ATC thing. So let me get myself parked. So the ATC can be found on top of here. Then you can contact the tower through this ATC thing. You go to special services. As well. So that's how you enter the tower. I think there should be a couple of other options in there. I think you select which airport you want to land. And I think, and pick the airport you want. The airport you want is Hartford Brainerd. That should get to be your airport. I don't know how to choose. I turn off the ATC tower. Harvard Branser. It's Hartford Branford. It's there. There's Druid Zeus. You're down. So did you see there, YT Baller? I think that is where it's located. How do I choose the airport? It should have been your ATC options. I, I guess I haven't seen you taken off yet. You probably need to take off first, I guess, once you're reloaded. Well, the problem is, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get reload. I need to reload this. Bot tip's gonna land. Once bot tip lands, I'm gonna have to reload the sim with the next leg of the flight plan. Congratulations, you landed down in Hartford there, Botza. Nicely done. Ooh, yeah. Whoa, was that? Beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the... I don't know how to. Let me get back to my flight plan, and I'll show you how this thing works. Do you see me? I'm loading into the main menu. Unfortunately, I have to put in the next leg. So if you can hold on for a sec, once I load in the flight plan, load and everything, I could probably teach you how to use it. Never mind, you crashed somehow. Sorry. I really do. So this is where our next leg would take us, dear YT Baller. So there's our airport, Kilo Hotel Foxtrot Delta. Brainerd, it's Brainerd. Oh, hello there, Ben Michael Dockery. Good, hey, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Well, today we're going to be doing our play ball series. We're heading to Boston, Massachusetts, home of the Boston Red Sox, to learn about some baseball history. So how about you? Are you doing pretty well for yourself? You're still 12 miles out. You're switching out of the X Cup after landing for a Cessna. Yep. That's Hey, I put in the same stuff. Hey, good. That's wonderful, YT. So I'll probably have to teach you how the ATC works. Hey, nicely done. So we're going to be taking off from this runway. Maybe I should take a Cessna 172. 172 is a great choice. That's the plane we're taking. But anything that can keep up with a 172, like the Diamond D840, you can take the Cirrus. That could definitely work. Heck, you could take the Arrow. The Arrow would be a good choice too. Like, you got lots of options to keep up with this 172. Even a Pipstral Virus can definitely keep it up with it. We should get... I'm going to reset my thing back to 2500. So that should be set. Let's set this back. It's a unique thing of this 172. The normal Aero 3 should absolutely work. Yeah, the normal Aero 3 is perfect. Should do... I'm just going to wait till you load in. So where did you take the fly there, Kazaki? That's a simple question I was wanting to talk about. And I'm going to go ahead and take off. I'm going to show YT Baller something with the air traffic control. So once you press this, so let's take off first. We are clear for takeoff. I flew over you. You crashed. So I'm just gonna surround place. I don't know where to go. Well, you could follow me, and I definitely, if you could follow me, I think that would be perfectly good. And now continue for north departure. Okay. But I'm gonna circle around and wait till Goblin Zeus loads in. Flying around Hartford. I think I see your lights there, Kazaki. I think I see you there. Mm-hmm. So first stop here, we're gonna overhead. If you look below, this is where Pratt and Whitney's at, and this is where they do all their aircraft engines and stuff. Is located down here. All your turbojet engines, your turboprops, your propeller engines, powering some of the most iconic aircraft of all time. There's a good chance they came from here. So do you see my name tag now there? BO2 Baller 08. No. Well, we're gonna be. This is downtown Hartford. Unfortunately, there's no photogrammetry. There's Dunkin' Donuts Park down here. Wow, the KP. It's KPVB. Yeah, it's that's the loading thing. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the autopilot. I'm gonna go ahead and arm the nav mode. So pretty quickly. Definitely flying around the area a few bits. KPVD. Oh no, Zeus, you actually loaded in the next one ahead. Oh no. I see you perfectly fine there, BO2 Gamer. I see your tag up there, Baller. I see you up there. Do you see Bottom's name tag? Because if you see him, you can follow him around. Wait, I think I know what your problem is. Did you set it on the group only? I think you set your multiplayer settings to group only. I think that's what it is. You set it to group only. I think that's what happened. You set it to group only. So I believe that might be your problem. I don't know how to change it. I don't. It's in your multiplayer settings, but that's in the main menu. You can't change it in the middle of the flight. Alright then, Gazus. Yeah, you're an F-18. You should easily catch me. Now, YT Baller, if you don't mind, there's actually some really good ones to follow for Flight Sim. I think the best ones to follow, I think, are the Flying Fabio and Two-Tone Murphy. Let me go get them a bit of a shout out. What is that multiplayer thing under? I think it's within your, I think it's in the multiplayer section in the main menu. It's in your multiplayer setting. It's in the main menu because you could set it between group only and all that. The Flying Fabio and Two-Tone Murphy are both two of the best ones. It's in the main menu. When you exit out of the sim, it's in your main menu settings. I might want to show you once we get done with the next leg. I'll show it to you. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I want to help you out, so things will get better next time. So you guys want to know about the next destination, so I'm going to stay here in case you're chilling fun. I appreciate you coming here. I really appreciate it there. I'm more than happy to help you out more times than not. I know, I love airplanes too. I've been loving airplanes since I was a little kid. Love aviation, especially the military kind. You spawn on runway 16? Gotcha. Gotcha there, Kazaki. So for the next place, we'll be heading to Providence, Rhode Island. This is the capital and the largest city of Rhode Island. It was founded in 1636 by Roger Williams. He actually fled from England from religious persecution, and he named the area in honor of God's merciful providence to his followers. This was one of the first cities in the country to industrialize, and it was especially noted for its textile manufacturing, which was big during the Industrial Revolution. Attractions in Providence include the Rhode Island State House, Federal Hill, and Roger Williams Park. Those are all located in downtown Rhode Island. And some of the most notable people from there include H.P. Lovecraft, the one who made the Legend of Cthulhu. He's from Providence. George Henry Corliss, and he is the one that invented the Corliss steam engine. And finally, Major League star Paul Konerko. He's also from there as well. So this is Providence, Rhode Island for you. Same. I have a Red Bull stunt plane that's 6 feet. I like the extra. The extra is the Red Bull stunt plane. Now that's an absolute joy to fly. really fun and awesome plane. I love it. I don't think it's a good idea to fly it in my series because, well, it's much easier to have this in autopilot and then have to discuss it to you. Also, and if you really want someone who's chill and fun, there is only one flight sim YouTuber that I think represents fun. And I think you're going to really like him. This guy is Two-Tone Murphy. This guy, absolutely funny, but he's an extremely nice guy. In fact, he is one of the biggest people that really helped me get into the streaming. He's been a huge help for helping me start the stream. He's funny, he's hilarious, he's got a great personality. And that makes him just fun to watch, and I highly recommend you check him out. For anyone who hasn't. In fact, I'm a proud member of his community to begin with, so that's probably why I got it all rubbed off of me. But yeah, Fabio and Murphy are the two of the best people on Twitch that can help you with any flight sim sort of things. Oh, and one more thing, YT Baller. I do actually also have my own Discord as well. Check out, I got the link, and once you click the link, you'll be taken to my Discord. And we can hang out there during streams. You get the... I appreciate you joining there, YT Baller. I really appreciate you coming here. Absolutely nice as well. We're over the Nathan Hale National Forest. So, YT Baller, one of the best programs. It says, it's not. I need to refresh the invite. Oh, I need to. Let me go ahead and fix it for you. Let me go. If you don't mind, I'll change and fix it. Let me get it fresh. I need to update my stream thing. Let me go ahead and get my thing. Let me go ahead and fix it. Let me go change my commands. This should take about a sec. I updated the thing. No, no, that does not work. God darn it. Okay, I got it this time. Let me... BRB. One more time's the charm. Third time has to be better to beat the charm. Okay, now click this new link. Let's see if this actually works this time. It worked! Wonderful! Gotta feed my bearded dragon. Dude, those are cool lizards. The bearded dragon, those are awesome lizards. Absolute. My brother wants to get one of those. Ah, it worked perfectly. That's perfect. You're like I said, he should get that or a big-tailed gecko. That is also the other lizard I want to get is the leopard gecko. Those are awesome lizards. Well, I appreciate having you here, right, T-Baller. I really appreciate you being here. It's great that you came here, and I hope whatever I told you helped you out a lot. Oh, you're not leaving? Oh, I didn't know. Didn't know if you were leaving or not. Just asked. I didn't know if you were leaving. Mm-hmm. So basically, we're flying through lots of forest area. We're right near the James L. Goodwin State Forest as well. And yes, Rhode Island is actually one of the smallest states in the entire country. It's very small. You could probably get through all of it within an hour driving. Really, really small. Definitely a small state, but it's got a lot of character to it. So definitely that'll be a very interesting thing. Okay, you're back now. Good. I got a better idea there. Let's see. Wife cheated. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy usernames. People and their crazy usernames. Those are always a thing. Now, YT Bar, I use this. There's a program you can get on your computer. It's called Little Navmap. This is an absolute lifesaver when it comes to flight plans. You're in the main menu. Well, the next airport we're going to be at is going to be in. It's going to be Kilo Papa Victor Delta, which is Theodore Francis Green State. That is right there. I think that would be your nearest airport we take. I can see wife cheated. Look at the view. You can see all the ground and such. So looking at the gauges for a bit. So I can definitely see all of the beautiful steam gauge. How do I get it, homie? How do I get the plane? Well, if you username, here's my gamer tag. So you can add as a friend, and maybe if you can do it, you can connect back to me. No, the map. Okay, Little Nav Map. You go online and you search up the term Little Nav Map. Let me type it in what program. Little Nav Map. This is the thing I use. That is what I use. And this is such a useful thing. You wouldn't think something like that's useful, but especially when you're at you. There as well, and I think we're seeing the airport right in front of us. We're going to be landing on runway 05, which is right here. We're going to take that runway. We'll be landing there, and we'll be ready for the next stop. Got your friend request? So hopefully, now that you're friends, you could probably see us. And also, our benefit is now that you see us as friends, you'll see us on the world map with a marked circle. That's our friends. And then you can load it on us anytime, and that'll make things a lot easier. That's one of the benefits of doing this. So I actually got a question, YT Baller. Where in the world are you? Where around the world are you from? I just want to ask you a simple question. You don't have to give me anything specific. Just give me a region of the world you're from. I don't know what link. The link you want to click is the albar965.github.io. You click that. And once you click that, you go to releases and downloads. Let me show you how this works. Let me get my slideshow thing back up. Eastern time? I'm from around southern Indiana myself. So here's how this works. This is with the little nav map. You press this, and it should give you to this page. And once you get to that page, for the nav map, you press releases and downloads. Then it should give you the version. You want to pick version 2.6.13. Then pick which operating system you want between Windows, Mac, and Linux. And then it will have its own manual on how things work. I think that's how little nav map should be downloaded and work. I do have live weather. It's still... I do have live weather still. I still... Apparently the wrong... Do you not have live weather anymore? The wind? No, I still... The wind's still there. It's just I've been going a lot faster. There. That's it. But I'm going to go ahead and turn off my autopilot. I'm going to try and get this thing down. How do I open the map thing? It should be in a zip drive. So if you have WinRAR, you can open it up through the download file. If you don't, you can download WinRAR from the WinRAR website. And once you do that, you just extract it, put it all into a folder, and then you can open up the application page. Are you on PC? No. Like your controls. I'm on PC because the console for this is not out yet. I mean, technically, I'm on a laptop, funnily enough. In all my controls, I have a TCA side stick, Airbus edition with a TCA throttle quadrant, and I got Thrustmaster rudder pedals. So all Thrustmaster. Which may be the cheaper of the line, but the cheaper of the line of this is still really good. Now, console's going to be out on July 27th, and I'm actually very excited for it. Because it'll be the first time a major flight simulator like this... Oh crap, I don't know how to open the thing. Let me get landed, and I may want to help you out with it in a bit. I need to get landed first, so I have no autopilot. I'm down. Ooh, yeah. I can't get it for free. Yeah, you can get WinRAR for free. In fact, the free thing will last forever. So yes, get the WinRAR, because it's gonna be needed if you get any third-party add-ons from there as well, many that they can find. Yep. Now I'm talking about the flight sim. Yeah, you can get it for free. If you have the Windows version, you can get it on the Xbox Series X and all that. Yep, you can get it for free. So I downloaded the new version. I'm going to go ahead and download it. See, it's in a zip file. So you need to get a program called WinRAR. And in order to open it, you need to go to WinRAR. See, there's the WinRAR website. Once you click that, you can download it. And you can download it right here. This is the 32-bit version. Download that. And once you download it, once you do it, you can use it to open all of the zip files in your flight sim. Yeah, you have that stuff. You have WinRAR. That's great. Once you download it from the link, it'll tell you to ask what to open it with, what program, and then pick WinRAR, and it should get it all open for you. Then within that, I have it right here. It's going to be, it should say little nav map. And then just extract this whole little nav map folder and extract it to, let's say, your documents folder on the extract to file. And once you do that, I think you'll be extracting, and I think you'll be pretty good. So I definitely hope that helps you out. Gotta turn this off. Let's see if everyone else is around here. Let's see if anyone else is around here. There's Kazaki Flyer. Good to see you. Bot tip's already down. That's wonderful. How I open the nav map? To open the nav map, once you download the file and you use WinRAR, I would extract the whole little nav map folder from it and put it in your documents. Once you do that, there should be an application thing. It should be there, and I think you should be opening it from that way. I don't see what you mean. I'm going to post it later in my Discord. If you're around to see my Discord, I'll probably get your username. And I'll teach you how to do it in the general chat. If you don't mind doing that, I think it would be a lot simple. I'll probably have to do it in the general chat. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. And I think that's everyone. There's Zeus, there's me, there's Kozaki, he's down. And I'm going to go ahead and get back to the main menu. I'm going to go back to the main menu as well. Actually, I think I found it there, YT Baller. And there's a charge change to right lane. There. I sent you a thing in the Discord. It has the whole manual, so feel free to look at it if you need to. It's got the whole thing to help you, so anything you need is in that manual. So once we do that, we go to the next leg. This would be a 65 nautical mile. We're going to take off from 1-way-2-3. Charge also the right leg. Yep, I sent you that. And what's the beauty of this is it's a whole manual. It'll teach you how to install it, how to make sure everything works the way it should. It's got everything you need. So I hope that should be more than enough for you. I think the main, and it's from the developer themselves, so they know what they're doing. But Low Nav Map is an absolute game changer. You have it open. Wonderful. Wonderful. Should be in the downtown Providence very soon. Let's take back to the 2,500 feet to take off. I think it should automatically connect to Flight Sim. I've done this before. In order to do it, it should say Tools, and it should go to Flight Simulator Connection. Here's how this works. You go into the settings, go to Tools, Flight Simulator Connection, and it should go to FSX, Prepare 3D, or MSFS, and you can connect it to your Microsoft Flight Simulator. And this will update your update time. You can fetch the AI, multiplayer ships, you can do all that. Connect, and this should connect your progress into the sim. It's, how do you take this group thing off? 1 second, guys. Let me go to the main menu for a sec. I need to help YT Baller out for a sec. Let me go help you out. No, you're perfectly fine, YT Baller. I was once in that same boat as you, someone who's new to the sim. So in order to do it, you go to Profile, go to World Map, and go to Flight Conditions on your top right corner of the main menu. See Multiplayer. Now you have live players, all players, or group only. If you press group only, you would only see the people in your group. So you want to switch it to all players so you can see everyone there. Does that make sense? You do that, and that should probably work. And that's in the world map menu. Go there, go to flight conditions, multiplayer, and set it. Okay, you don't. That's weird. That's a bit unusual. Because that's the only setting I could find it. Oh, Motosuwa! Hey, you guys rated with a party of 23. Hello guys, you actually came here at a good time actually. Because we're going to get the next part of our leg set up. We're on the East USA server. Motosuwa with the follow. Good to see you. So we're actually going to take off from Kilo Papa Victor Delta. We're at Theodore Francis Greek State in Providence. Alex Nessie with the follow. Thank you so much. So we're doing this series called Play Ball. And this series is traveling through around the Major League world to explore the history of baseball and their teams. And for this week, we're doing Boston, Massachusetts. We're going to visit the Boston Red Sox. And I actually have a whole thing about Major League history. It may not be the most deepest, but I'll make sure it works. VW Camper WV with the follow. Thank you so much. That's cool. I know.
It's dinner time. Enjoy.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's good to see all the Raiders here. I really appreciate it. I was not expecting it today. Pierre Poutine with the follow. Thank you so much. So, I'm on the East USA server, and my recommendation is general aviation. No airliners, please. Because apparently when you use airliners, it'll hurt the frames of it, and I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm taking the Cessna 152. This is actually the steam gauge version. So I'm going to go ahead and take off from the runway if anyone else wants to join in. So we actually have our little nav map. So on my nav map, we're going to fly from Providence to our next destination, Lawrence G. Hanscott Air Force Base. This will be the next stop of our leg. So we're right outside of Providence, Rhode Island. The capital largest city in the entire state. So I'm going to set up my plane, set it up to 2,500 feet in altitude. There. But it's good to see everyone rated here. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. You have to go in 10 minutes. That's perfectly fine. I'll be back soon though. So I'm going to be going ahead and be ready to take off from here. I really appreciate it, Mosua. Thank you so much for the raid. I was not expecting it at all. So very nice. We get to see Providence. And we're going to go take off for a bit. So there's Druid Zeus. Bot tip. Yeah, you're more than okay to take off there, Zeus. You're more than welcome. I really appreciate it. Maybe at some point I might have to follow you soon after the stream. There it is. There's BO2 Gamer in an F-18. The freeware version. Yep, you see me. That's great. As well, beautiful Providence, Rhode Island. It's going to be straight ahead. Just waiting for everyone else to take off. Absolutely beautiful out here today. It's lovely. Well, next Sunday is going to be July 4th, which is American Independence Day. Which means only one thing: barbecue and fireworks. Because it is the American way, mind you. Armed to nav. I gotta go. Hey, it's great seeing you there, YT Baller. It's great having you here, especially for a new face. I hope to see you next time, man. So for all the Raiders don't know, I usually stream here at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or 1900 Zulu, depending on your time. As well. As well, this is absolutely nice. We're getting your downtown Providence as well. So we're going near the Providence River to our right, which is located around here. We're going to get to the camera. July 4th is going to be really nice. I'm thinking about doing something really special on July 4th. I'm going to do a special kind of stream for that day. A stream that's only fitting for that sort of day. There is Providence, and it is actually photogrammetry into the sim on Lake Hartford. So Providence used to be not far from Providence is going to be Pawtucket, and that used to be the home of the AAA affiliate for the Red Sox, the Pawtucket Paw Sox. But that team has since been moved to Worcester, Maryland, and they're going to start playing this season in the minors. And they play in the AAA East. So definitely something very interesting. Definitely very nice as well. So basically our next destination we're going to be heading to outside of Providence is going to be, let me change this. We're going to be heading to Worcester, Massachusetts. Now, Worcester is the second largest city in the entire region of New England, only behind Boston, and it's the principal city of central Massachusetts. Worcester developed as an industrial city due to the Blackstone Canal in the 19th century. And while there's not much known, Worcester, the most notable people from the city include NBA Hall of Famer Bob Cousy, there's Harvey Ball, and Robert Gaddard. Now, I think this would be a good time to mention it, but it's time we talk about the star of this episode. We gotta talk about the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox were established back in 1901 in the American League and has been one of the most successful franchises in the American League. Alongside the Athletics as one of the most successful. Currently, they play at Fenway Park, and this has been their home since 1912, which means Fenway is the oldest park in the major leagues. Throughout their entire franchise history, the Red Sox have won 9 World Series championships, 14 American League pennants, and 10 American League East Division championships. As of the end of the 2020 season, their all-time record was 9,626 wins in 8,944 losses, which means they have a win-loss percentage of 51.8%, which is a lot. Goblin says, in France, the national day is July 14th. It seems a lot of days are in July. July 1st is Canada Day, which is the day of Canada. And a fun fact about the Boston Red Sox is that the long-time call-in rally cry for the Red Sox fans, Tessie, was first sung in 1902 and was sung a lot during the World Series. And there is actually something else down below. Let's get this out of the way for a sec. This was historic. Down below is historic McCoy Field. This used to be the home of the Pawtucket Red Sox. It's down over here. Is pretty cool. I can get down pretty low. Let me turn off the drone follow cam for a sec and increase the drone speed. So this is McCoy Field. It's actually quite photogrammetry, quite nice in the sim. It's a very interesting thing as well. But yeah, this used to be the home of the Pawtucket Sox until this past season. But it's quite nice. The photogrammetry is quite decent too. As well. So it's a really nice minor league ballpark. It's one of the oldest minor league ballparks in the minors. So definitely something to keep in mind. Now, that rallying cry eventually became a song later on in 2004 that was sung by Boston rock band the Dropkick Murphys, who've done a few other songs too, including Ship It Up to Boston was another popular one. So the history of the Red Sox first got started back in 1901 when the American League created a franchise called the Boston Americans, and they were meant to be there to compete with the National League team at the time in Boston, the Braves, who later are known now as Atlanta Braves. In 1903, the Boston Red Sox won their very first ever pennant, and they actually participated in the first ever modern World Series back in 1903, and they went against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in an odd thing compared to today, they actually played to best of 9 instead of best of 7, and they won the series 5-3. Then in 1904, the Red Sox did not participate in the World Series. They were supposed to participate in 1904 against the Giants, but the Giants declined the series, so that was never played. 1905 and 1906, the Red Sox didn't really do very well, but in 1907, the owner of the team actually changed the name to the name we all know, the Red Sox. And in 1912, they actually managed to win 105 games that year and beat the New York Giants in the 1912 World Series to get their second championship. Which is really interesting to think about for all those championships. Then we get to the next part. From 1913 to 16, the Red Sox were owned by Joseph Lennon, and he signed a certain player named Babe Ruth. Now, if we go back to our New York episode, or for those who enter here for the first time, Babe Ruth is one of the greatest baseball players to ever play baseball. He is a player that can do it all, and they signed him as a pitcher. In 1915, they actually won the World Series again after they won 101 games, and they beat the Phillies 4-1. Then, after 1915, they went on to repeat in 1916, defeating the Brooklyn Robins, who aka the LA Dodgers, eventually. And then in 1916, after the 1916 season, Harry Freese bought the Red Sox from him for about $675,000 at the time. And in 1918, Babe Ruth led the team to another World Series championship, beating the Chicago Cubs. However, that good was not going to last very long, though. After the 1919 season, on December 26th, Harry Freese sold Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees. Now, apparently there was rumors because Harry Freese was part of the showbiz. It was to inspire the play No No Nanette, but that's not actually the truth. This was very bad for the Red Sox. Basically, if you want to know the summation of this trade, the Yankees got out of the Babe Ruth deal 26 World Series championships from 1918 to 2004. The Red Sox during that time span, 86 years without a championship. Yeah, that ended up not going well for the Red Sox fans. It was one of the most lopsided trades in history. In addition, the loss of several top players, including Ruth, led to a reduction of Red Sox wins, and during the 20s and 30s, they were fixtures in the second division. They never finished any closer to 20 games out of first. That showed how badly the Babe Ruth trade went for the Sox. However, Tom Yawkey bought the team back in 33, and they became much better. And in 39, Boston actually purchased the contract of Ted Williams from the minor leagues. Ted Williams is one of the best hitters of all time. I'm just telling you that. With Ted Williams, the Red Sox managed to reach the 1946 World Series, but they lost to the St. Louis Cardinals in 7 games. And in 48-49, they barely missed out the pennant, they came very close, but no cigar for the Sox as well. So the reason I've been doing a lot of these PowerPoints is I want to summarize the history. Fabio likes to do PowerPoints, images. I like to do something like that too, because every team has an interesting story. The 50s were rough for the Red Sox, especially after with Ted Williams come back from World War II and Korea. And the 60s also started kind of poorly for the Red Sox. Though in 1961, Carl Yastrzemski actually came to the major leagues to replace Ted Williams, and he actually became an amazing hitter during the time of pitching. In 1967, known as the Impossible Dream, the Red Sox managed to reach the World Series, but lost to the St. Louis Cardinals in 7 games. And even though they were competitive for the late 60s or early 70s, they never finished higher than second place in the division. The closest they got was to the 1975 World Series, but they lost to the Reds. And that series was very well known for Carlton Fisk when he hit his game-winning home run in Game 6 of the 1975 World Series. Unfortunately, in typical Red Sox fashion, they managed to choke another World Series. And in 1978, they got close to being into the playoffs, but the Yankees absolutely ruined their dreams when Harvey did hit that home run. So the Red Sox weren't really that competitive until 1986. They had some in 1986. They had Roger Clemens and Bill Buckner, who were really good players. And thanks to them, not only did they win the AL East for the first time in 11 seasons, they won the American League pennant, and they faced against the Mets in the World Series. This was a really cool series, and the Red Sox were this close to winning the World Series. Then Bill Buckner did his infamous gaffe. Basically, Mookie Wilson, he took the swing, it was heading to first base bag. Bill Buckner tries to grab underneath, but the ball goes right through his glove, scoring the game-winning run, and costed the Red Sox Game 6, and it ended up costing them Game 7 as well, which was not good for Red Sox fans. This was a moment in infamy for Red Sox fans. It's just not something you want to do. The Red Sox then returned back to the postseason in '88, but they were swept by the Oakland Athletics, and at the time, Oakland was one of the best teams in the league. Then they went back to the postseason in '95, finished 7 games ahead of the Yankees, but they got absolutely destroyed by the Cleveland Indians in the ALDS, which isn't surprising. The Cleveland Indians in the '90s were extremely stacked. However, things were starting to finally get better for the Red Sox. In '99, they beat the Indians finally in the playoffs, but they couldn't beat the Yankees still. That was the one team they could never beat, was the New York Yankees. That team was stacked, and I mean, you win that many World Series. Not surprising. Then the Red Sox made it back to the ALCS again in 2003, after a couple of playoff appearances. They reached the ALCS, but they lost the Yankees in Game 7 thanks to Aaron Boone's home run. However, things started to change after the 2003 offseason. First, they hired Terry Francona from the Philadelphia Phillies. Then they signed players like Kurt Schilling and other players. Those players were so big they reached the American League Championship Series against the Yankees, and down 3-0 against their rivals, they managed to do the unthinkable at the time. They won 4 straight games, including Game 4, David Roberts had to steal. Game 6, Kurt Schilling had his bloody red sock, which had one of the best pitching performances in the playoffs. In Game 7, they managed to win their first pennant since '86. And then they did something else surprising. They actually swept the Cardinals to win the World Series, their very first championship since 1918. This means it took them 86 years to actually win a championship, which is very moment for all Red Sox fans. And yes, David Ortiz was a big part of that team too. Then after 2 straight disappointing finishes the next 2 seasons, they went back to the World Series, and Boston swept the Rockies, who made their very first World Series appearance for their 7th championship. And then we get to the last part of the history for the Red Sox. This is in 2008. They reached back to the World Series ALCS once again, but they lost to the Cinderella Rays in 7 games, which, by the way, the Rays are my favorite baseball team, so that was such a good moment for me. In 2009, they lost to the Angels in the ALDS, and in 2011, they absolutely collapsed. They were supposed to make it to the American League wild card, but instead they choked a 12-game lead in 20 games to the Rays. I still remember that. The Red Sox, however, thankfully things got better. To 2013, they won their 8th championship by beating the Cardinals, and then in 2008 they won their 9th World Series championship in franchise history, and that ends it off for the Boston Red Sox for a bit. So in terms of legends, Boston's had a lot of legends over franchise history, lots of iconic players. Not nearly as much as the Yankees though, but they are very similar in a lot of ways. So the first Red Sox legend I'm going to talk about is Cy Young. This guy is one of the most iconic pitchers in baseball history. He still holds many records to this day, including most wins, career-ending pitch, starts, and complete games. He currently has won over 500 games, making him one of the only players ever to win over 500 games. He pitched over 2,800 strikeouts, and his earned run average is 2.63. And basically, for those that don't know, ERA stands for earned runs average. You take the earned runs divided by the number of innings. That's what you get. He was a 5-time Major League win leader. That means he led the league in wins. He even pitched 3 no-hitters. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1937. And after his death, his name was on the Best Pitcher Award for Major League Baseball. Which is extremely interesting, which is really cool. Next one is going to be Ted Williams, probably the best Red Sox player of all time. Ted Williams. He is one of the greatest hitters to ever play baseball, and he's currently the last hitter to hit 400 in a regular season, which is 406 in 1941. Ted Williams in his career actually hit 344. He had over 521. He had 521 home runs. And more importantly, too, he was a 19-time All-Star. Yes, he appeared in 19 All-Star games, which is a lot. He has won the AL Batting Champion 6 times, and he was a 2-time AL MVP. And the fun fact about Ted Williams is that when he was drafted into World War II, and in World War II he served as a naval aviator, training new pilots to fly the F-4 Corsair. And he even served in Korea as a member of the BMF 311 Attack Squadron of the United States Marine Corps. And he actually got involved in 39 combat missions in the Korean War. Earned him 2 gold stars. Which is definitely really interesting. You wouldn't think Ted Williams would actually be a player, but he actually fought. Then there's Carl Yastrzemski. Now, Carl Yastrzemski he had a tall task to replace Ted Williams, but he did, and he spent 23 seasons with the Red Sox. That is a major league record for the longest time spent on one team. Carl Yastrzemski hit 3,419 hits. He has 452 home runs. He was an 18-time All-Star. He is the 1967 AL MVP and Triple Crown winner, and he was a 7-time Gold Glover, meaning he is one of the best fielders in his position. And he's currently the all-time Red Sox leader in career hits, RBIs, and runs. And in fact, his grandson actually plays for the major leagues. His grandson Mike Yastrzemski actually now plays for the Giants. For San Francisco. Then we have Wade Boggs, and he was one of the major stars for the Red Sox during the 80s. He was a great hitter. He was a 5-time AL batting champion, and he was a hitting machine. He has 12 All-Star appearances and 8 Silver Sluggers. And his 3,000th hit actually was a home run during his time as a Tampa Bay Devil Ray as well. And we actually got a couple more. 2 more legends. We got Pedro Martinez. When he was in his prime, Pedro was absolutely amazing. This is a guy who, in his prime, was one of the best pitchers in MLB history from 1997 to 2003. He went to 209. He won over 209 games with only 100 losses. He has over 3,000 strikeouts, and he has 3 times been the Cy Young Award winner. His 2000 season was considered to be his most dominant. He had a 23-4 record. He only gave up 1.7 earned runs per inning, and he has over 280 strikeouts. And he's the only pitcher to compile over 3,000 strikeouts with fewer than 3,000 innings pitched. So he actually has more strikeouts than innings pitched, which is pretty crazy. And the last Red Sox player I want to talk about is David Ortiz, the most recent one. And I definitely think he's going to be in Cooperstown one day. He's known as Big Papi, and he's one of the best designated hitters in Major League history. And without him, I don't think the Red Sox would have won 3 of their most recent titles. He had over 541 home runs, has over 2,472 hits. He's a 10-time All-Star, 7-time Silver Slugger, and he was twice been the American League's best hitter. And he currently holds many of the all-time designated hitter records, including home runs, hits, and RBIs. So yes, David Ortiz is an incredible player. And I think this is just the basic overview of the Red Sox history and the things about Boston. So we should be getting down pretty quickly to Worcester. And we just flew over Worcester, so we got to see the city for a bit. And now we're going to be flying to Hanscom, and right next to Hanscom is Concord. Now, Concord's actually been interesting as well. Now, Concord, Massachusetts was actually established in 1635 by a group of English settlers, and by the time 1775 rolled around, it actually had 1,400 people. But the reason Concord was such a significant place was because this is where the battles of Lexington and Concord happened, and that triggered the American Revolution. And that led to eventually create America's independence. And some of the places that are known in Concord include the Minuteman National Historical Park, which shows you life what it was back in the old settlers and old settlements. The Walden Lake, which is the lake not far from there. And you also have the Ralph Waldo Emerson and Thoreau houses, and those are located around the area. Now, some of the most notable people in Concord include Ralph Waldo Emerson, who's a poet and writer. Samuel Prescott was one of the people involved in Paul Revere's Ride that tell the people the British are coming, the British are coming. And famous actor Steve Carell was actually born in Concord. And the fun fact, Concord is one of the major locations in Bethesda's post-nuclear role-playing game Fallout 4. And that's because it was the entirety of all of Boston that was included. So definitely very interesting to point out. I think this is really cool. We're going to be flying to Boston pretty soon as well. So for those that are just still in the chat, well, once we get to our last stop, we will be taking a tour around Boston. I'm going to be taking the Aerolites, and we'll be giving a bit of a tour throughout Boston. To Harvard, there's Nickerson Field, Fenway Park, MIT, Bunker Hill, U.S. Constitution, Old North Church, Paul Revere House, and then we get to our final destination, Cape Boss, which is Logan International. So that's kind of something interesting for everyone in the chat as well. I really appreciate all the new followers. That means a lot to me. As well. It's definitely very nice around here. Definitely going to adjust the weather here for a bit. Just the weather, because that's one of the beauties of the game, is that you can adjust the weather to any setting you want. It is very windy, Kozaki Fire says. Yeah, it's extremely windy, and the weather is extremely windy. That cannot be an understatement. It is extremely windy. That cannot be understated. We should get to Conquer pretty soon. I don't think we have that much further to go. Now, guys, if you think about Boston, I think if we need to, we could probably stop by one of the seafood restaurants and get some clam chowder. That's probably absolutely delicious thing to have in Boston. So don't be afraid to hit the follow button to check it out. Like, every bit of follow means a lot to me. I would really appreciate if you all give me a chance to follow me when you can. I think that would be really cool as well. Big ol' 05936 with the follow. Thank you so much. Well, today's been a good day for me, that's for sure. And yeah, this is the beautiful Steam Gauge version. Can't go wrong with this. So I heard a lot in the news that the DC-6s finally got some fixes, and I'm hoping it continues to get fixes, because I know a lot of people are very excited about the plane. We're low. It looks like we're over the. We're over one of the wildlife refuges down below, as well. And for those guys who don't know, I actually have my own Discord as well. If you guys are not afraid to check it out. As well. So I got my own Discord to check what server. I am on the East USA server. In fact, let me do this. It's one of the commands. I'm on East USA server, Biggles. My only rules is that GA only. No airliners, please. Because if I have an airliner, that's going to really kill into the frames, and I don't want to do that. So Concord should be ahead of us right now. Okay, Grande. Green's from Dublin. Nice to see you. And Green's from here, from southern Indiana. Good to greet you too, man. So, Lawrence J. Housecliff Field was actually is mainly a general aviation airport, the largest in New England, and it's actually used by Hanscom Air Force Base. And basically, Hanscom Air Force Base was used quite a bit in World War II, but it was especially used in the Cold War as part of a few things. It was primarily used by the Air Force Material Command in the Air Force Life Management Center, which means they did the life cycle of all the weapons and equipment. So that's kind of what Hanscom was actually used for a lot. Thanks in the region. And I think we're flying above Concord. Right here should be Walden Pond. Walden Pond's right here. So for runways, we will be landing in runway 05 according to my nav map. We should be landing right there. As well. Is that as well. So there's Lonscombe Field. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this autopilot. Now, unlike other planes, this doesn't use like a G1000. I have to go into this manual setting. Okay, that should be off. There's Concord down below. This was one of the main locations of Fallout 4. And particularly right where Lonscombe Base is located is the start of Fallout 4. Definitely a well-known RPG. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and land for you guys. Absolutely very nice to look at, that's for sure. I'm sorry for the frames being a little slow. French Hall! Hey, good to see you, man. How far are we? We're on the end of the third leg. We're on to the final leg. We're going to be heading to downtown Boston. But I need to land at this airport first. I probably know that Boston is not going to be nearly as bad as going through New York. I remember going through New York and it was a pain in the butt. Are we about to land at K-bed? Yep, we're about to land. In fact, I'm right next to the airport. Like, I'm about to land here. In this beautiful Cessna 172. Absolutely amazing plane. And yes, I also had a raid today. I was not expecting a raid, but Motosua gave me a very nice raid. I'm really sorry for the frames acting up. I mean, I think I got this pretty good. 1.05. Should be down here pretty easily. Got it. Down, and that should be an easy down. Watch out. Oh, the polygons. I'm down. Here's Druid Zeus is down. Zeus is down, and there's bot up as well. And there's Biggles too. Good to see you. Hundreds. Inference to all. I'm going to have to be going to the main menu so I can reload and freshen up a new sim, because I know I probably need to do it. I don't want the frames to kill me. Wow, 4 FPS. Yep, that's another reason I needed to get to the main menu. Please, Microsoft Flight Simulator, get to the main menu. Sometimes Flight Simulator does not want to cooperate with me. Okay, it's finally exiting back to the main menu. Thank God. Okay, there are 2 more things about the slideshow I do want to talk about, and these to finally complete the last 3 slideshows. So the first is the city of Boston itself. Now, Boston, Massachusetts is the most populous city in the state, and is the 21st most populous in the U.S. It was founded on the Shawmut Peninsula in 1630 by Puritan settlers from the English town of the same name, Boston in Great Britain. Now, Boston is really important because it was a major point in many of the events of the American Revolution, and that included the Boston Massacre, the Boston Tea Party, the Siege of Boston, and other key elements. Now, many of the landmarks included in Boston, we know Fenway Park is one, but Bunker Hill, the U.S. Constitution, USS Constitution, which is the famed warship that served during the Revolutionary War, the Old State House, which used to be the capital of Boston, and this was where many of those historical events happened. There's notable Bostoners. They include John F. Kennedy, Paul Revere, who is the one who did his famous ride, and WWE wrestler John Cena was a notable Bostoner. And Boston's actually, we got 2 ballparks to visit in Boston. We have Braves Field. Now, wait a minute, this isn't the Red Sox, this is the Braves. So why we're covering that? Because the Braves were the other team in Boston. Now, that stadium was opened back in 1915, and it was originally the home of the Braves until 1953, when the Braves moved to Milwaukee. It had a capacity of 40,000 people, and the altitude dimensions of the park consisted of 337 in left field, 355 left center, 390 feet and center. Right field was 355 at right center. And finally, we get to right field, which is only 315 feet. Now, originally, the ballpark's dimensions were much deeper, and because the original owner wanted to favor inside the park home runs, but thankfully cooler heads prevail, and the ballpark was changed in the 1920s for dimensions. Now, the fun fact about the stadium was that after the Rays left Boston, it wasn't actually completely destroyed. What happened was that Boston University actually bought the stadium and they turned it into a multi-sport stadium that included not only the Boston Terriers' former football team, but currently now is the home of their soccer and track and field teams. So yes, it's now called Nickerson Field. So, and we're going to actually be visiting there during the flight, which is very interesting. Not many stadiums have a second life. But Nickerson Field was one of them as well. The other stadium that, to me, had a new lease on life. But whoa. Is a stadium that doesn't need much of an introduction. Apologies when I'm flying up. Is Fenway Park. This ballpark does not need an introduction onto it. When it was opened back in 1912, and it's still here to this day. It's outlived many ballparks. It's outlived some of baseball's other most iconic stadiums. It is still here today, even though stadiums like Yankee Stadium, Tiger Stadium, Ebbets Field, they all were gone. But Fenway Park never left. And it has extremely unique dimensions compared to every other stadium currently in the major leagues. For example, Fenway Park's left field was 310 feet, with 379 in left center, 389 at center field. The deepest part was 420, 380 in right center, and 302 feet in right. But the unique things about Fenway Park, left field is known as the Green Monster. This wall is huge. It's 37 feet tall. Now, the upper picture here is what the Green Monster used to look like when it was full of advertisements, and there were actually seats in front of it. But that's since been changed. Currently, for the longest time, it used to have a wire fence, and the reason it had to be so high was to protect the businesses in Lansdowne Street. So, they originally put a net there, but in the 2003 season, in preparation for 2003, they actually added new seats to the stadium, and it became the Monster seats, and you can actually pay tickets to go see the stadium up there. The triangle is a really deep part. This is where a lot of triples happen in Fenway Park, due to the weird triangular dimensions of where it was built. And then the pesky pole. This was actually originally named after Johnny Pesky, a really well-known and beloved Red Sox player. He only had 17 career home runs in the major leagues, 6 of them were at Fenway, and most, if not all of them, were hit at that right field. And this is weird because of the dimension of the right field pole, and there are plenty of times balls that just wrap around the pole. This is absolutely one of the most interesting features about Fenway. And one of the interesting facts is that the Green Monster, the giant wall, the out-of-town scoreboard there is actually operated manually by actual scorekeepers. They had to manually change everything. This was before a lot of technology now that lets you change all of it. But not so much back then. As well, it's also got a capacity of 38,000, which makes it one of the smallest in the league. But if it's one thing that can never top Fenway, it's charm. No one ever beats Fenway in charm. That ballpark is an absolute beauty of a stadium. For sure. There's also another thing too. There was a lone red seat in the bleachers. It's on section 42, row 37, And this signified the longest home run ever hit in Fenway. And that was hit by Ted Williams back in '46. It hit 502 feet. And apparently the story goes when Ted Williams hit that home run, it appeared to hit through someone's hat. Apparently the ball landed on a fan named Joseph A. Butcher, and it penetrated through his straw hat and hit him on the head, which is really funny. But yeah, that seat is still there in Fenway. And also too, pesky pole is the shortest outfield distance in all of baseball currently. And the reason, even though despite the short wall, home runs there are actually pretty rare, and that's because of the fence. It curves really sharply away from it, so that's why balls don't always hit there. It's really funny to mention that. But in addition to Fenway being used for baseball, it's also been used for soccer and actually American football, believe it or not. I don't know how they managed to make American football actually work in Fenway. Directions, I think I flew over Lexington. That is where they did the Battle of Lexington. Should get to Boston pretty soon. So our first destination here on our mini-map, we'll be heading to Harvard University. This is the world-famous university. They do a lot of research, and some of the brightest minds in the entire world, they go to Harvard. Which is, well, so we'll be visiting Harvard for a bit. I just checked, I realized I'm at 59 followers. I'm only one away from 60, so that would be really nice. That would be really supportive if I can get one more to get 60. I know I passed 50, but now on to 60. Yeah, the soundtrack does remind me of IL-2. Yep. I never played IL-2. I know that's a really realistic simulator for World War II. So we should be getting pretty close to Harvard. So yes, I am actually in the Aerolite 103. This is a beautiful ultralight. Now, for guys that don't know in the chat, the Aerolite was used by Coffee House Airways, and he did around the U.S. with this thing. Yes, he did. He took 24 days to do it, and he did through all the United States with this thing. Like, that should probably do it. I'm changing my FSF takes a hit with the low FPS. Yep, that's what I did too. I had to change. Thankfully, the good news is that unlike New York, Boston's going to certainly have less people to worry about. So that's going to be nice. And the fact is the airport is going to be right next to the city, so. There's Boston, Massachusetts ahead of us. Now I know exactly what we need to have in Boston. We need to go at a seafood restaurant, get some oysters and clam chowder. That's what I think we need. We need clam chowder. Because I had clam chowder before, and clam chowder is absolutely delicious. It's amazing. Love my seafood. And the other reason I like taking the ultralight, guys, is the fact that nothing beats ultralight when it comes to visibility. And it's one thing you can fly at like 100 knots, but it's another thing you take the nice scenic route and you get to see all the different landmarks and all that sort of things. Like, it's just, nothing beats the ultralight when Aerolite and all that comes with it. It's just such a great plane. You can get this in the marketplace for 10 bucks. Around 10, 15 bucks, and it's absolutely worth it. For sightseeing, nothing beats the plane for sightseeing, that's for sure. Okay, and I think Harvard University should be right ahead of us. So this coming up is Harvard, one of the world's top universities. And apparently, to get into Harvard, it's going to cost you an arm and leg to get to Harvard, and probably your soul. Or in the case of a good friend of mine, Tom Murphy, all the gin. So this here is Harvard, boys. This is where the brightest minds in the world come to. And also people who are crazy and snobbish. They come to Harvard too. Look at that, that's Harvard. Isn't this cool, guys? Harvard's actually photogrammetry into the sim. And then we're going to go across the river. We're going to go to Harvard Stadium. Harvard Stadium is one of the oldest in all of college football. And this is one of the two places they do the famous Harvard versus Yale. And apparently Harvard's actually played college football since 1873, and they actually been playing Harvard Stadium actually ever since 1903. It's one of the oldest stadiums in all of college football. It's old. I mean, look at that. That is old. But definitely a landmark in the city as well. Then we're gonna keep following down the river. So we keep following the Charles River. This is the main river for the city of Boston. We'll be heading to Nickerson Field, which should not be far from us. It should be ahead of us, actually. But yeah, Boston's a really cool city. It's got lots of history. Unfortunately, there was a mod to get the U.S.'s Constitution. I probably should have gotten the mod for it. I should have downloaded it. But oh well. And here's Nickerson Field right ahead of us. This here is Nickerson, which is located right here. This is where Braves Field turned into. There's Nickerson. That's where Boston University's at. One of the universities in the city. There's the University of Boston Arena. Pretty cool. Now, the next place we go to is one of the other Ivy. We're going to actually head to Fenway Park next. The most iconic ballpark in the majors. Now, for those who haven't done this yet, feel free to join my Discord. I already have a link up there immediately, so anyone could join. That's perfectly fine. We can talk, hang out, and you guys can keep up to date with my streams when they go live. Oh, you're in a phone call right now, Rental All. Got it. Now, this, guys, is Fenway Park. Baseball's most iconic cathedral. It's the old cathedral that's still here. Beautiful Fenway Park. Don't mind the foliage. It's something with the photogrammetry. But there's Fenway to our right. So you see there's the triangle, pesky poles in right field. There's pesky pole. to right field, and then left field is that ginormous green monster, and there's the seats up there as well. So pass over the ballpark again. There's the giant left field monster. There's the seats, the light towers, the triangle. Yaki Way, Lansdale Street. Balls can fly over the monster and land onto the street. Pretty interesting thing about Fenway Park, that's for sure. Now we go across the river. And across the river, we go to the next destination. We'll be heading to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. MIT is the other Ivy League university in the city. Yes, Boston's got 2 of them as well. Through their main campus, going across the Charles River. There's the MIT. Sometimes I think there's a bit too much foliage. There's MIT's campus. Definitely a very interesting campus, that's for sure. Then our next stop should be Bunker Hill. Now, Bunker Hill was a battle during the American Revolution. And there's the monument there. Now, Bunker Hill was the location of the Battle of Bunker Hill. This was fought in 1775. It was during the Siege of Boston, and it was one of the more important battles in the entire conflict. But it's a very important, and it's also going to be where I'm thinking I'm going to do my next stream as well, because I'm planning on doing my next stream about the entirety of America's independence through many different wars through its timeline. Mainly the fact I'll do the American Revolution, maybe different conflicts like Yorktown and Valley Forge, some of the most iconic of various different wars. It would be a good way to visit the historic battlefields. Now to our right, there's TD Garden, that's home to the Celtics and Bruins sports teams. They play in the arena. And one of the tallest buildings in Boston is the Hancock Tower. It's one of the tallest in the city as well. Bunker Hill should not be far from here, as actually it's right. There's the monument to our left. That is Bunker Hill. This is the Bunker Hill Monument commemorating the Battle of Bunker Hill. Right there. There is Bunker Hill Memorial. Ancient Butte. Definitely pretty easy to see from this high. Yeah, MIT's got world reputation. Yep, it's an Ivy League university, so it's going to have extremely high reputation. Now we're going to fly over the USS Constitution. And I see old Ironsides down there. Unfortunately, there's foliage, but there is old Ironsides down here. Now, the USS Constitution was actually the world's oldest ship that's actually still afloat. She was actually built in She was launched in 1797 as one of the original 6 frigates that was constructed by the 1794 Naval Act. And she was most known for her actions during the War of 1812. When when she was well known, when she captured numerous ships and she defeated 5 British warships during the entire conflict. In fact, she also served as a trained warship during the American Civil War, and she retired all the way late until 1881 when she retired. Over almost 100 years. In 1934, she completed a 3-year 90-port tour of the entire country, and in 1997, she sailed on her own power for her 200th birthday. So yes, this is a classic warship. One of the most famous in the world is Old Ironsides. Absolutely love the USS Constitution. Absolutely beautiful ship. Next, we'll get to the Old North Church and the Paul Revere House. So right here is the Old North Church. Now, the Old North Church was the major church in the entire city, and this is where the organized Paul Revere's ride was, in that church. When Paul Revere said, "The British are coming, gotta warn ya." This became one of the most well-known in the entire conflict. And in Fallout 4, this was actually home to one of the factions underground. And then we get to the Paul Revere House, which is located a bit farther down. But Paul Revere's house is right over here, I believe. I think right over here is Paul Revere's house. The Revere House is where Paul Revere actually lived for much of his life during the colonial period. Definitely a very iconic place to live, that's for sure. But it's home to Boston legend Paul Revere. We're going to do a quick flyby of downtown Boston for a sec. If you guys don't mind, we'll do a quick flyby of downtown Boston. And then for our runway, we're going to be landing on runway 04 right. So this should get us. So that will be our destination. 04 right will be the last place we'll be landing for the week. So going through downtown Boston, we're going to go through all the major buildings, not to hurt ourselves. So we're going to get by the Fort Point Channel. This will be located around here. And then the last destination, we're going to try and swing by Castle Island, which is home to Fort Independence, one of the forts in the American Revolutionary War. So, absolutely incredible. This is the beauty of Boston for you. What a cool city. This is where Boston does a lot of its port shipping. And Boston heads up here. There's Biggles. Caught you, and there's Bot. Yeah, I see you guys here. That might be an old warship, apparently. This was a they were working on a ship when this all happened. So that's how it got here. And then Fort Independence should be right in front of us, actually. Now, Fort Independence is actually the oldest fortified site of English origin in the U.S. And this was actually banned by the British during the American Revolution. and during the War of 1812, but they never attacked Boston because of Fort Independence, which is right ahead of us. So there's the old fort. But there's actually been a rumor that Fort Independence was actually the site of one of the most important inspiration for Edgar Allan Poe. And apparently, the tale from one of the places is inspired Poe to write one of his best works, The Casket Automatildo. From it, it's an old tale. Apparently, happened during a sword duel. However, it's not really accurate. As well, and I think 04 Right's right ahead of us. So yes, I see Giknas and I see other planes. And for all those who don't know the terminology, Gikna means airliner. It is a really nice city. It's a very nice port. Well, we should be going to turn right, and we are done with the visit to botnet. And that should probably do it. We're going to turn off the power as well. We're going to get this to land. What a beautiful turn of Boston. What a lovely place to fly. Perfect. That was smooth. Let's get out of the taxiway for a bit. Druid Zeus is down. There's Druid Zeus is down. Wonderful. Here. There's Biggles. He's going to be down in the Baron. Beautiful work, Biggles. Oh, whoa. Wobble, wobble. Okay, you got it. You kept the landing. And there's Bodev. You're down. Nice work, Bodev. So that's it, guys. And there's Friends All still up here. Let's wait till he gets down. So I'm one of... So Friend All, are you still on the phone call? They're Friends All? I'm going to go ahead and check. Well, do not wait, please. Okay. That's fine. Well, this ended up being a really nice flight, guys. I wanted to thank everyone here who showed up today. And to be fair, I was not expecting to get rated today. But that was a very fun surprise. Everything went well. I've had no crash issues, no CDDs. And overall, I think everything went really well today. So for next Sunday, July 4th, this one's a tough conundrum. On one hand, I want to continue my play ball series, but on the other hand, I'm really thinking about doing a very special American independence related stream. Since I'm a huge buff for military history, I was thinking about doing a local flight around the region, and I think it'd be really cool to fly around several battlefield sites through many different conflicts. The question is, should I do it in the United States or should I do it in other places? I think that is something I may have to think about at some point. But I want to thank everyone here, all the new follows, all the new people who fly around with me, and everyone who's stuck in the chat. I want to thank you all so much. It means so much to me that the constant support just makes my day. So before we get going, I think we're going to do a raid. Raid. The question is I'm having a pretty difficult choice between who to raid. Either Sim Caesar or we should give Gripper or Sim Caesar a chance to follow. So I'm thinking about the sun. Thanks, Viberstrike, and have a good night. It's great seeing you, Biggles. Thank you so much for coming to the end of the fight. It really makes me happy to see more people join. And you're a good man. So I think we should decide to raid Sim Caesar. Let's give him a bit of a visit tonight, shall we? Take care, everyone, and have a good night. Let's give some Caesar